Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be reviewing two collections from ILNP. We have the Vineyard collection, which consists of 6 jelly polishes with scattered holographic pigment, and the Campground collection, which consists of 4 cremes. As a disclaimer, I did receive these two collections in PR/gifting. I am not obligated to create content or do anything with it. This is just a for funsies type of video. And with that, let's get into swatching. Up first we have Hidden Path, and this is a burnt orange jelly base with scattered holographic pigment. With these polishes having a jelly base, it's not guaranteed that you'll have full opacity. So with me having shorter nails, it is a little bit easier because I don't have that visible nail line like people with longer nails would have. For me, it only took 2 coats, but for the fun of it and to see how much darker the color can get, I did 3 coats. Even with 3 coats, it doesn't look exactly like it does in the bottle because the formula condensed into a small space, so it's going to be a little bit darker than it actually shows on the nail here. I know it's a cardinal sin to put matte top coat on holo, but sometimes it just looks nice. And so here it is with the matte and glossy top coat. Moving right along, we have Merlot. This is a red wine jelly base polish with a scattered holographic pigment inside, as is the tail of this type of red. The first coat will be very patchy, and then the second coats and third coats is mainly you trying to patch up the patchiness. And sometimes the patchiness never ends. With this polish, I did need to do 3 coats because the first one was very patchy. The second one, I was trying to patch the patchiness, but even then, on the very left side of my nail, there was a patchy spot. And then the third coat, I feel like really evened it out for the most part. However, if I were to scrutinize my nail, I'm obviously going to find flaws. And I can say that even with the third coat, there still was some patchiness on my nail. Mainly on the left side again, where the problem area typically is when I record these swatching videos. You just see that it's lighter near the edge, and same with like the cuticle area or near the cuticle line. So I had this polish on for a good hour or 2 as I was eating lunch and doing other stuff before continuing on with the rest of the swatches, and this polish stained my thumb. So forewarning, this is going to stain. And I was wearing 2 coats of peel off base coat and 1 coat of ILNP's orange base coat. Honeymoon is a deep berry purple jelly base color with scattered holographic pigment in there. This is a very pretty purpley base color. It's similar in how I felt with Merlot in that it's that nice fall deep color that I just adore a lot. As it was with the others, first coat is very patchy, but second coat really helped alleviate some of those patchiness area. But again, just to show the colors a little bit more and to see how much it can deepen with each coat, I went ahead and did a third coat. I imagine with this one being as pigmented as Merlot, it probably would stain your nails as well. So again, double up on that base coat unless you don't care about your nails getting stained, which is okay. Like, I know many nail friends that have their nails stained, and it doesn't mean that your nail isn't healthy or that you have a fungus infection like most people like to comment on when they see a yellow nail. It's just, hey, we're working with very pigmented colors and that pigment can bleed onto the nail bed. Here it is with glossy and matte top coats. Rosalie is a muted blush pink jelly base with scattered holographic pigment in it. Overall, this is a very light, very sheer polish, especially on the first coat, as you can see here. So because this polish is very sheer, I'd imagine that I would have like visible nail line and all that jazz. Seeing how my little moon crescent thing on my thumb is very visible even on the second coat, I am rather shocked that it built up to this very corally almost type of color. Didn't really expect it to be this color, seeing how it looks on the bottle and then seeing how it looked on the first coat. Longer nails, you're definitely going to have that visible nail line. For me, it's just that crescent that I see the most because I don't really have any nail length to show. But overall, this isn't my type of color. I prefer the darker shades more than this lighter one, but to each their own, you know. And then here it is in matte and glossy top coats. Time for the most confusing color in this whole collection. Is it blue? Is it purple? Is it blurple? Is it also known as indigo? On the nail, the first coat looks purple, but on the bottom, because it's so condensed, it looks blue. But as you add layers, it combines both of them. What do you consider this color? Blurple is the best description for me, but colorists will probably fight me on that. Anyway, this color is stunning. I absolutely love it. It's dark, it's fall, it has scattered holo. I don't know what else I could ask for. And then I did 3 coats just to see how far I can get with the blurple aspect of it. It also helped in patching up some of the areas that were a little lighter, especially from the first and second coat. In general, the formula in these polishes have been really easy to work with. I didn't feel like I have to struggle too much. If anything, I probably need to load the brush a little bit better. In some cases, like in this one, first coat was very, very thin, resulting in a very patchy application. Moving on to the last polish for the Vineyard collection, we have Countryside. Now this is an olive green jelly base with scattered holo in it, and I fumbled the application of this one and did not feel like redoing it just to show the perfect swatch. So I definitely did not load my brush with enough polish, resulting in the first coat to be extremely streaky. And you can see here how that dominoes into the end results, which is on the third coat, where the sides of my nail, the left side and the right side, just continue to stay patchy regardless of how many coats I've added. So I'm on the third coat now and they're still patchy. So depending on how you start leads to how it ends. Be mindful of how much polish you have on your brush, especially with these jelly formulas, as it seems like they're a little bit on the finicky side. And here it is with glossy and matte top coat. So moving on to the Campground collection. Up first we have Mushroom, and Mushroom is a taupe creme polish, or better yet, it's like chocolate milk, but you added way more milk than your Nesquik chocolate powder. So now you have this. Overall, I'm rather shocked with like the viscosity of the polish. It's not thick and it's not too thin either to where like it would overflow. It's very much in the middle of just being easy to apply and play with. Like I almost had a one coater with this polish, but there were a little bit of patchy areas near the cuticle and the tips, and then the second coat like completely erased them. So far I'm really liking the creme polishes, she says, as she's only swatched one. Here it is with the glossy and matte top coat.
Did somebody say chocolate?
And that was me emulating the grandma in SpongeBob, if you didn't know. I love browns. They deserve all the love in the world, and anybody who dislikes browns can honestly suck my left toe. Kind of struggled applying the first coat, primarily on the left side of my nail. Like the brush didn't want to round itself nicely, so I overbrushed the left side and resulting it to be slightly patchy. And then I was hoping that the second coat would cover it, but then the tip started showing a little bit of patchiness. It's not as visible on camera, but in person, I could definitely see that patchiness on the tip of my nail. So I went in with a third coat. And I love browns. I love this shade of brown. It's so delicious looking. Look at how rich it is. It's beautiful. Anyway, here it is in glossy and matte top coat. Beautiful in both ways. Time for the most expensive polish of them all, Truffle. The polish isn't really expensive, it's the same price as the other ones. Please don't take this seriously. So this is a charcoal creme polish, and it is a off black, faded black, however you want to call it, type of creme polish. and I definitely don't have something like this in my collection. The closest thing to it is a straight up black polish. So having something like this, I didn't feel like I would see myself wanting it to fill in that gap, but wow. This polish is very, very pretty to look at, especially with the third coat. It almost looks like a true black, but like you'll see later in the comparisons how different it is to a true black and then this faded black. Regardless, I can never have too many black polishes in my collection. Here it is with the glossy and matte top coat. Hey, we made it to the end. So our final polish is Treetop. Treetop is an olive green creme polish, and the way it applies like butter is very nice. The first coat applied really nicely. It could be that I finally managed to get a hang of the cream polishes, but also I might have put a little bit extra polish on the brush, and that kind of aided in the first coat being a nice layout for the second coat to cover up any patchiness that I had on the first coat. I gotta say, Treetop is a needed color in the campground collection. It's been brown and then black, and it just needed that extra color to like round everything out. And this is how they look in the sunlight. The Vineyard collection really pops here with the holo reacting to the sunlight. Moving on to the comparisons, might do a little rapid fire here as I don't really have anything that's exact, maybe one polish that resembles another polish that I have in my collection. So first up we have Hidden Path, and the ones that I thought were slightly similar is Holo Taco's I'm Roberit and Tax Haven. But those two lean a little bit more red than they do burnt orange in my opinion. And then of course Hidden Path technically only has one special element, which is scattered holographic pigments. Moving on to Merlot, the most red wine polishes that I could find was Holo Taco's Naughty List, which is discontinued, and then Dimension Nails Stegosaurus, which I also think is discontinued. Not exacts. Holo Taco's maybe a little bit closer to ILNP's Merlot, but otherwise, these are still very different polishes. And then I did want to compare Merlot and Honeymoon as they were kind of close to each other, but Honeymoon's more purple vase and Merlot is more red vase. Speaking of Honeymoon, we have Holo Taco's Plum Luck, which is discontinued, and Holo Taco's Magenta Cherry, which is available still. So I think Plum Luck could be the closest, but it's a little darker than Honeymoon. And then Magenta Cherry is a little too bright, and it's also a linear holographic, whereas Honeymoon is a scattered holographic. So not exacts, but very close. So for Rosalie, I didn't have anything to really compare it to besides Very Much in Love by Ella and Mila. But even then, Very Much in Love is a deeper blush pink and also no scattered holographic, but I mean you could apply a topper and maybe, but it's not jelly base, it's a creme, so not exacts. For Grapevine, I have Holo Taco's Midnight Spark and Mooncat's House of Hades, or Hades, however you want to fight me on this. So Midnight Spark is definitely the closest to Grapevine. However, Midnight Spark has a little bit more than just holographic pigments. I think it also has blue glitters in there. And then House of Hades has no holo, just a couple sparkles. And then, of course, the color itself is slightly different. Like Grapevine is more blurple, whereas Midnight Spark and House of Hades is very much more blue leaning than Grapevine is. For Countryside, I have Mooncat's Monster Under Your Head and The Stranger. Very different here, also very different formulas. So Monster Under Your Head is a linear holographic and a little bit more of a brighter green. Same with The Stranger, it's a brighter green than Countryside, and also it's a creme. So I do want to compare Countryside to Treetop and just see how similar or different the greens are. Countryside is more of a murky type of green in my opinion, Moving on to the creme polishes. First up we have mushroom, and I thought it would look slightly similar to ILNP's Coffee Run. Coffee Run does have this hollow sparkle to it. Coffee Run is a more muted taupe brown, if you will, more gray leaning, and mushroom almost looks warm next to it. I don't think mushroom looked that warm on me when I applied it. It actually looked cool toned, similar to how Coffee Run looks. Moving on to chocolate, I have Holo Taco's brownie points, and then Magical Mustache, which was limited edition and it's no longer sold. You can see how chocolate really fills in that gap. It's almost a little red leaning compared to brownie points and Magical Mustache, but these aren't exacts, but they would make a cute skittle together. Moving on to truffle, I have Holo Taco's One Coat Black and Great. Great is was a limited edition polish, which is no longer being sold. So I have about 3 coats of truffle on the swatch sticks, and I have probably 1 coat or 2 coats of One Coat Black, but truffle and One Coat Black look very, very similar. Like, you have to really pause this video and really look at the two to slightly see that truffle is just barely faded compared to One Coat Black. And then Great's completely different formula. It's like metallic-y in a sense. Lastly, we have Treetop next to Mooncat's The Stranger, and these look almost similar, except Treetop is just a lighter version of The Stranger. So it's up to you really if you want to justify having both of these, but they're pretty damn close. Overall, I like both collections. I am biased towards these colors. I enjoy the dark, the vampy in the fall. So both of these collections are something that I would lean towards and probably would have purchased on my own regardless of it being sent to me. The only one that I wasn't in love with immediately was Rosalie, but it's the lightest shade in the Vineyard collection, and I just feel like there's some weird clashing with my skin tone. Can't really describe it. Maybe I just need to spend more time with it on or whatever. And then a surprise favorite is Mushroom from the Campground collection. I thought that polish was going to give me like Dead Nails type of vibe, but I really much enjoy the like gray tone of this like brown top, whatever you want to call it. But yeah. Those are my thoughts, those are my opinions. Please let me know if you have any comments, questions, something else you want to see, or if you plan on getting either collections or honestly both. You know, do what makes you happy, but not at the expense of putting yourself in financial situations, you know? I think these polishes are reasonably priced, especially when the pre-order discounts that ILNP does before the launch, the official launch of the collection. So they have pre-orders and then they offer a little discount, and then after the pre-order session is done, it's like regular price. But even regular price isn't bad. So if you want beautiful polishes, great formulas, an amazing brand, cruelty-free, all that jazz, ILNP is a stellar brand to reach for, you know? But yeah, thanks so much for watching and hanging out with me. Again, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and with that, I'll see you next time. Bye!